Chris Stapleton's All-American Roadshow. July 25th at Ford Idaho Center Arena with special guests Alan Stone and Nikki Lane. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. before the general public Friday at 10 a.m. Buy tickets at livenation.com. New album Higher, available November 10th.
Today on CityCast Boise, a serious throwdown over who makes Boise's best breakfast burrito between our host Emma Arnold and contributor James Dawson. They shared their go-to spots, dive into the right hot sauce ratios, and they decide what ingredients would go into Boise's signature breakfast burrito. It's Wednesday, November 1st. I'm Evelyn Avitia, in for Emma Arnold, and this is what Boise's talking about.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, Emma, here we might be fighting today.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm a little worried. Sounds like we're on some pretty opposite sides of this breakfast burrito debate.
Yeah, but that's okay. We might be able to come to some sort of, détente and at least respect each other sometimes.
Yeah. Let's just do our best to be open-minded about what other people like in their breakfast burritos. Let's start with why are you a fan of breakfast burritos? Are they a go-to for you? Do you eat them pretty often?
I don't really eat them all that often, but I've become a fan just because they can be both simple and complex, right? You can make them as complex as you want them to. But in essence, all you're talking about is a tortilla, some, may or may not even have eggs if we're talking about vegan options. But then you can stuff it with all kinds of, delicious food that you want to. And hopefully it's not dry. That's one of my few commandments, if you will, of the holiness of breakfast burritos. Cannot be dry.
I agree with you on that. Although if you give me one dry, I'm just going to cover it with sauce anyway. My husband's always remarking on how many hot sauce packets I use on one breakfast burrito. He's always amazed that one person can put that much hot sauce on one little burrito, But I eat them really regularly. They're a very go-to. Probably once a week I have a breakfast burrito when I'm out running errands or whatever, or dropping my kid off at school. I'll just be all right, gotta stop today. How would you define breakfast burrito? What makes it? Is it just the tortilla? Could you throw anything in a tortilla essentially and call it a breakfast burrito as long as you eat it in the morning? What's the criteria there for you?
I don't think that you even necessarily need to eat it in the morning because, certainly, I think we both have had days where it might be a little past noon or well past noon or even, at night when you just want that hit of a breakfast burrito, right? Something that people might not consider a breakfast burrito, which would be the High Note Cafe, vegan-friendly restaurant in downtown Boise. I still have not been able to have this because it's only served on the weekends, and it seems like it's just got to be so great. You got potatoes in there, you've got tofu, you've got all of the delicious accoutrements within, and that's something that I really want to try. But some people might not consider that a breakfast burrito, right?
Yeah, and I think for me, if you're putting eggs in there or an egg equivalent,
yeah,
you've made a breakfast burrito. It doesn't have to have eggs. If you've done other breakfast items, I think you could get away with that. But for me, if it has eggs in it, it's a breakfast burrito in general.
Yes.
So what's your go-to order? What elements does your perfect breakfast burrito have?
Yeah, so I kind of have three different criteria for an ideal breakfast burrito. I want really crispy hash browns in them. I want it to have some sort of distinctive sauce or salsa, and I do not include pico de gallo in that. Pico is great on a lot of things, and it's okay with a breakfast burrito, but it's not what I ideally would want. And then finally, I think to top it off, just a really nice way to round out an epic breakfast burrito is lightly grilling the tortilla after you've stuffed it and just put it on a grill or, comal or whatever it is.
I thought we were going to disagree, but crispy hash browns, come on. For me, that's one of the most basic musts in mine. Like my personal order is I like a simple breakfast burrito. I mean, I will try and eat just about anything, but I like eggs, hash browns, a little bit of bacon, some taco sauce. Ooh, some American cheese or cheddar if you're at a fancier place. I don't mind. But I just kind of like my go-to order is it's very simple. I'm not a sausage guy.
No.
I don't want sausage in my breakfast burrito. I recently was somewhere and they had gravy in there and I was like, this is a disaster. You can't put the gravy, maybe for dipping is fine, but you can't put the gravy in there. It was a mess. Did not care for it.
Yeah, I'd have to see it, but my immediate reaction is that sounds absolutely disgusting. I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah. And I agree with you on the pico de gallo, just because it's like, it's morning. Even though I want hot sauce or something like even a little spicy, like a salsa, I'm with you that like the pico de gallo is not what I'm looking for with the breakfast. Because I'm driving. I'm regularly driving while I'm eating this breakfast burrito. And having to like dump something that's kind of chunky and not really working with me on there is a little rough. So if they throw some salsa in there, huge fan of that. Otherwise, give me some hot sauce packets.
Jason Mraz and the Super Band. Live. The mystical, magical, rhythmical, radical ride. Saturday, August 3rd at Ford Idaho Center Amphitheater. Jason Mraz and the Super Band. Tickets on sale now at FordIdahoCenter.com. Jason Mraz and the Super Band. Pick up the new album, Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride, produced by Live Nation.
Maruchan superfans are everywhere. From the busy moms who want to deliver maximum flavor in a flash to dorm room diners who want to put some slurp in their step. There are a ton of copycats you could use, but if you want to bless your bowl, there's only one true Maruchan. Whether you choose instant lunch, ramen bowls, yakisoba, or restaurant quality gold, Maruchan is the only ramen worth obsessing over. Smiles for all. Maruchan. See what all the ramen hype is about at maruchan.com.
But so those are just like the baseline. Usually I go for something that's, a little spicier. I want a hot mama from Hawkins, but I rarely get out there because it's in, the far end of the north end, beginning of the Highlands neighborhood in Boise, and I'm on the bench. So it takes a little bit of time to get out there when they only serve it until a certain hour. But they also just have a phenomenal sauce in there. It's nice and spicy along with the pickled jalapeno that they put in there. They did, and Hawkins fans, which, I don't go there very often, but when I do, I enjoy it. But they changed their hash browns. Their supplier changed their hash browns recently, which can be a big hit or miss thing. It seems more like
this is breaking news because I did not know that.
It is, yeah. And it seems like a thicker cut hash brown and not necessarily as crispy that I found, which was unfortunate because I thought that, otherwise that's a pretty good B+ burrito right there.
You know what I'm realizing? I think I like a dry breakfast burrito and then I like to bring the sauce. I want to put the sauce on at my own pace. I don't necessarily want the sauce in the burrito. Everything falls apart that way. But I do like their morning heater. That one is really good too. It has bacon and jalapenos and it's like a little bit spicy, not super spicy. That's really good. Anything that what ruins a breakfast burrito for you? Do you have unpopular opinions on that?
I do. Well, unpopular? I don't know. I mean, I think the pico might be unpopular. A lot of people do like pico. Maybe my unpopular breakfast burrito opinion is that I really do not like big bun breakfast burritos, which shots fired at you. I know we've talked about how much you love them.
I do love big bun, but I agree with you on that one.
What?
That's not my go-to. My go-to for a breakfast burrito is always going to be Bad Boy. And you have to really push me to go anywhere else. That's, in my opinion, the best one in town.
Bad Boy is not good.
You're wrong.
No, it
Jimmy,
is
wrong.
not good. I'm sorry.
Which one are you getting? Are you getting the sausage one? What's going on here?
No, I got the bacon one, and I added the onion and pepper to it, and they were flavorless. It could have been an off day, I guess, but it basically encapsulated the experience that I've had with their burgers too, where it's just like, these are really just C- for me.
I'm not crazy about their burgers, but I do. I mean, I was going to get a breakfast burrito this morning and they were closed for whatever reason.
You
and I
saved
was
yourself
like,
some time and effort.
No, I love it. I really like theirs. I think you're wrong, and I think maybe you should give them another chance because I think my kids always try to get me to go to Los Betos. That's their favorite spot for breakfast burritos. And for me, Los Betos is always just like, that's drunk food. That's where you go at 2 a.m. to get a breakfast burrito. That's not like running around, doing errands eating. That's not what that's for. But they have an okay breakfast burrito. I do like a steak, like an asada breakfast burrito, like steak, eggs. I actually just had one when I was in Bend, Oregon, that was steak, eggs, and beans, which I was not expecting to be like, it was a lot, not that like that's a full day's meal.
Are we talking pinto or black bean?
It was pinto beans, very flavorful, super delicious, very filling. Like I ate half of it and then put it in the cooler and I ate the other half later and it lasted me like a whole day. It was also like the size of an infant. It was absurd how big this burrito was. But I do love a steak burrito. Although I haven't found a place in town here that is like my favorite steak burrito, breakfast burrito.
I usually avoid steak burritos just because I feel like maybe it's because of the logistics of prepping everything for them, but the steak always just seems like it's so overdone. And I don't want chewy steak, like in my, that is not a consistency that I want in my breakfast burrito.
No. Those have to be teeny, tiny bites of steak, and they have to be like charred to perfection for sure to be really good. So my go-to spot you hate. What's your go-to spot?
Well, rest in peace, Even Stevens. I will say that they had the best breakfast burrito. You had to get the graduate, not the undergrad, especially because they used medium fried eggs, which I thought was incredibly smart. The yolk mixes with their sauce that was fantastic. Grilled their tortilla afterwards. The bacon was always really good.
What a eulogy here for the Even Stevens breakfast burrito.
I know.
They did their eggs really well. You're right. I don't like an overcooked egg for sure. I like a medium fried. And they did have really good eggs.
Yes.
I miss that for sure.
So I would probably say Hawkins. I did this morning go over to my favorite, nearby taco truck anyway, El Chavo on Overland, and got one of their breakfast burritos. It was just cheese, egg, and whatever kind of meat you wanted. I went with chorizo, and I thought it was pretty good. Probably a B, and elevated to an A- with their fantastic salsas. They've always got really good salsa over there.
Amazing salsas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I've had their steak breakfast burrito. Very good, very functional, big, sturdy. I think that's part of it. Is like this is a meal that's supposed to you take it on the go and you're supposed to kind of, it's like breakfast and lunch is kind of what it's supposed to be. So yeah, I like El Chavo a lot. Goldie's always a hit. Their breakfast burrito. You're making a face. Was this going to go in your overrated? Were you going to say you think it's not that good?
So I can't say that I've ever had a Goldie's breakfast burrito, because the one time that I ever went to Goldie's, and I tell people all the time, don't go there. Just because like I went, at a decent time, it was like a weekday. I had the day off or something, and I went at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. So I didn't have to wait, essentially. Like, I'm not in that line on the weekends that you always see going up and down Capitol. But the food was just not good, in my opinion. So I'm a tall person, as you know, I'm 6'6", and the hostess who brought us upstairs to our table didn't warn me about the low ceiling, so I immediately slammed my head into the ceiling. It was not good, and I tell everyone that Goldie's is super overrated.
For tall people specifically.
I mean, like, even if that had not happened to me, like, the food was not anything special, but people revere it as like the golden god of breakfast spots in Boise for no reason.
I disagree with you on that. I think you need to go back. I think you might need to go back and just sit downstairs where your height is not going to ruin the experience for you, maybe. I love their frittatas and stuff. Their breakfast burrito is good. Like, I'm not like, oh, it's the best in town. It's amazing. It's good. And it's pretty good sized. And but it's definitely a eat with a fork situation. More
messy.
than I'll take it. Yeah, it's kind of messy. I certainly wouldn't say it was like my most favorite thing, but I don't think I've ever had anything bad at Goldie's. And I don't brave it as much as I used to because, like you said, the line is, even on weekdays, sometimes I'll drive by and be like, oh, no, never mind. I'll just grab a pastry at Flying M, so it looks like. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on that like, maybe it's a little overrated, but do you have anything else, good or bad?
I was going to ask you, since you're talking about sizes of breakfast burritos, if we go back to Bad Boy, your favorite, that thing is tiny.
Okay, like, you're not wrong.
And granted, I think it's appropriately priced for that size.
Yes, that is one nice thing about it.
Yeah, so I'm not going to dunk on it for that. But for me, as a bigger human, I kind of need more food, unfortunately.
I get that. And that's part of the reason I think I like it is because it is like, it's cheap and it is kind of like my sized, it's not a monster. I can't even finish it sometimes, actually. But for sure, since the start of, all the inflation situations, it's shrunk over the last couple
Has it
years.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. In fact, my kids the other day when I brought them, I that's one of our weekend things is I go get everybody breakfast burritos. And my son was like, are these getting smaller and smaller every time? And I was like, yeah, I think that's happening to a lot of things all over town. So you're not wrong. They're not big burritos. It's not like going to fill you for the day. Well, just for fun, I thought we might together create, to bring us back, since we did disagree over Goldie's and a few other things. Let's come back and together create a breakfast burrito that is like the Boise breakfast burrito. What ingredients do you see in a specific? Because I was just in Bend, and at that little breakfast place, there was the Bend burrito.
Oh.
And I forget all that it had in it, but it was like, it had like a couple of specific like things that you were like, oh, okay, I haven't had that in a burrito before. So what would the Boise burrito be?
That's a good question. So I think it has to obviously have those extra crispy hash browns.
Yes.
Some sort of egg for me personally, whether it's scrambled or medium. It doesn't really matter. Scrambled eggs are just as good. I agree with you. I'm on the bacon train. And then I like, a little bit of spinach. Look, I'm recreating the Even Stevens breakfast burrito right now. But a little bit of spinach, a little bit of diced red onion. I will say that if we want to make this very Idaho specific, there is a sauce company out of Moscow that makes like, I don't know, 15, 20 different sauces. And I had a breakfast burrito up there. Nothing to write home about, but the sauce that they used from that guy's company was a huckleberry mustard-based hot sauce. And it doesn't seem like that would work well, but it does.
Okay.
And I would go with that on the side in a cup. For people who are a little skeptical and are like, ooh, sweetness mixed with savory, mixed with like mustard. What are we talking about here?
Okay. I'm with you on the hash browns, and I'm going to say I think Basque chorizo in there. Just seems very Boise.
Good call.
That seems like a good like hash browns, eggs, some chorizo, Basque chorizo in there. And then the huckleberry dipping sauce. That feels very Boise. Yeah, it feels very Boise. I think we've done it. I think we've created, should we start a food truck is my point.
Yeah, charge $15 each. Yep.
Yeah, $15. They're artisan, actually.
Handcrafted,
they're artisan breakfast burritos.
Artesian. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And they're the size of your thumb. So little, so tiny. So perfect. We're going to make a fortune.
Yes. All right. See you, CityCast.
All right, Jimmy. Well, thank you so much for letting me know that you have these bad opinions on burritos. I feel like this informs me. It's just good to know in our friendship. It's just good to have these facts.
Yep. I'm happy to disclose any and all controversial bad opinions to you.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Jimmy.
See you, Emma.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, leave us a review and check out our website for online guides to Boise. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more local stories from around the city. Bye.